The problem summarized. What do you see when you see a problem? Do you see a problem, or do you see just one face of a problem? If you see a problem, perhaps you see a designer solution customized to fit the problem. If you see just the face of something more central, you may be seeking one solution with different applications. Mankind has not agreed on what a problem is. Disagreements over the autonomy of problems is the meta-problem. The meta-problem is problem Z, PZ. Do you think problems have two sides, or are they multilateral? There are two sides to a problem when two people debate an issue. The more people who enter the debate, the more diversified and nuanced the opinions expressed. Time destroys discussions by the multiplication of minutiae. If we do not know if a problem has two sides or an infinite number, how do we solve operational problems? How do we solve the problem of homelessness when we cannot decide if homelessness has a single origin and standalone solution or a solution that is an application of general principles? PZ cannot be addressed without solving an ontological issue. Do our solutions come from a moral or legal source? Are problems the result of evil or hapstance? When confronted by a problem, can we look at it in isolation as an event with no cosmic significance, or is every problem an instance of a global moral conflict? Let's call this conflict a reality war. Regardless of which side of the issue you support, what you are claiming is that your reality and your truth is the correct truth. This assumes you know what the truth is, and those who do not agree with you do not know how to find and determine what is true. What is true is what is real. The problem is a conflict about which side of the war represents truth and good and which side is evil. Here we run into an ontological problem because in talking about the war we are engaged in the mind of some, the discussion itself is enemy action. To say evil exists is to claim there is a source of truth that invalidates all other opinions, beliefs, assertions, and so on. The law can conflict, legal systems can wage war, but all law has a unique source. No law is metaphysical. Thus, the reality war is a war between morality, which pertains to metaphysical absolutes, and ethics, which is simply opinion codified into enactments enforced through physical coercion. The moral solution to unemployment is the application of moral principles and axioms. Morality requires we do what is right. We assume if all do what is right, homelessness would no longer exist. Legalists view homelessness as a problem of crafting and enforcing the appropriate rules. There is no moral righteousness involved in the law, there is merely rules and regulations and their enforcement. We could see law as pragmatic and morality as idealistic. But what guides the writing and enforcement of law? Why do legalists view homelessness as a problem? Why not as a solution? Why is a law written making drinking and driving illegal, but not drinking and smoking? The problem is always skirted by PZ2 contingent, the legalists. If all our problems are disconnected and modular, then there are no actual problems. Ethical problems are crimes. They are only problems from the perspective of the law that forbids the activity. Murder is only a problem if there is a law criminalizing the killing of people. We see this in a war where there is no law prohibiting the killing of the enemy, and indeed glory in the mass murder of those on the other side. Remove all law and there are no problems, unless one is principled. There is either one problem or none. It cannot be otherwise. The problem is that mankind thinks there are many, many different isolated problems, and because of this assumption, humanity has not been able to determine what a problem is and what a solution is. Problem and solution are mixed together. What is actually just a situation alternates between being a problem and being a solution, depending on who is doing the looking and from what angle they look from. The problem of homelessness is a problem or a solution depending on your perspective. Homelessness can be considered a problem if one is forced to house the homeless, or a desirable solution if one is paid to build homes for them. The problem is the vast majority of people do not even know what a problem is. Homelessness is not a problem, it is a person without a home. Poverty is not a problem, it is humans deciding a certain income level puts a person in a category called poverty, whereas those above this income level are in a different category. That this exists as a problem is arbitrary and subjective. A problem must interfere with the attainment of a good to be a real problem. It is not enough that we postulate a desirable end, there must be an absolute and categorical justification for the failure to achieve the good, to be called bad or evil. Homelessness and poverty and other problems are not evil. There is no principled reason for a person to be housed or made prosperous. But if homeless is not evil, what is evil? What is the problem if there is a problem? Calling unpleasant situations problems is an epistemological error. Humanity is not the moral standard, and our discomfort cannot serve as the standard by which good and evil is established. Only the Bible truly understands the problem and the solution. The problem and the solution is mankind. But mankind has chosen to internalize the problem and claim we are the problem. The claim is that we are all evil, we are all good. The claim is made that in every human lurks a demon. Therefore, evil comes to good and requests a hearing. The devil is always ready to make a compromise. Evil wants to sit at the table and negotiate. The devil meets us on the road halfway to hell. There is no benefit for the good to negotiate with evil. Good is a non-negotiable position. Good and evil are two different races and two different realities. Evil sees evil in institutions, situations, and the condition of man. Only God sees evil as a human condition and a race of man. Some persons live in the flesh and see things from a physical perspective. Problems are observable conditions, and a solution is a change in conditions. These changes are always relative and contingent. Nothing substantial changes, only a dial changes its setting. A person gains a few more dollars, a more substantial roof over their head. But their heart does not change. The good live in the spirit. For the good, evil is an absolute condition deep in the soul of man. Evil is not good, and good is not evil. The division is not in man, but between the two races of man. This is why the problem is really the understanding of the two races and evil as a different race that lives in a different reality than the reality the good lives in. The reality of the good is the reality of PZ1. The only problem is the moral problem of what is good and what is evil. This is answered by the two races of man.